Welcome back, everyone. It's the Bourbon Judge. Yes, we are back at it, and I am excited about today's episode. High Bank Distillery. So when you think about High Bank Distillery, and I'm going to actually even take it a step back. You know, a lot of times when I talk to people, people will say, hey, Bourbon Judge, what do you think is like the next big thing as it relates like to the whiskey industry as a whole? A lot of people will say that it's, you know, American single malts. And I agree. I think American single malts will definitely be here for a long time. And they're definitely on the rise for sure. But for me personally, when I think about our industry and the trajectory of our industry, what's like the next big thing that's already in the making? Me personally, my thing is honestly craft distilleries. These smaller craft distilleries that are popping up in various different cities and states. You know, small business owners, people are putting their heart, you know, sweat, tears into making fantastic whiskey. And honestly, High Bank Distillery is truly a representation of that. So what do we know about High Bank Distillery? All right, so overall, first and foremost, kind of high level. High Bank Distillery is based in Columbus, Ohio. I've been a fan of many different brands in Ohio, and specifically in Columbus, Ohio, such as Middle West Spirits, Watershed Distillery, and then I have to give credit where credit is due. One of my patrons, my good buddy, Dan Hyatt, who's located in Ohio, Dan was like, Judge, I know you love Middle West and I know you love Watershed. What about High Bank? And honestly, at that point, I had never had High Bank Distillery whiskey before. He was like, you have to try the lovely Whiskey War Double Oak. He's like, it's won awards. He's like, it's an amazing double oak product. And I was like, all right, I'll check it out. Obviously, I checked it out, and obviously, half the bottle later, I fell in love with High Bank with the Whiskey War Double Oak, big time. So huge thank you, my man, Dan. Thanks, Dan. Kind of give a quick overview about High Bank. So again, based in Columbus, Ohio. The owner, Adam Hines. When you think about Adam, I love the story, first and foremost. So he has like a very art background. The gentleman is extremely talented, like an artist, like graphic artist, kind of graphic design, if you will. One day the story goes, he was, you know, him and his dad were big into motorcycle riding. Like, you know, they had Harleys. His dad moved down to Kentucky. So they were on a ride. They were riding through Kentucky, through the hills, obviously on the highway. And then they ended up going into Tennessee as well, just driving. And he was like, hey, Dad, you know, what are these barns that I keep seeing? Well, what those barns were obviously, as we probably all would guess, they're all rick houses. So his dad was like, oh, no, Adam, those are rick houses. You know, that's what, you know, where whiskey is stored and kind of all that whole example, if you will. So they end up stopping, you know, at that point, they left Kentucky. They were in Tennessee. They end up stopping in Jack Daniels and sipped some whiskey, really enjoyed it. And Adam said at that point he was hooked. He was hooked, wanted to have a distillery, and was able to kind of bring it back home to Columbus, Ohio, and start up High Bank Distillery along with him and his team there. When you think about High Bank, one of the things that I think of is the fact that they're growing. I mean, they are growing tremendously. They have 3 locations, not 1, not 2, but 3 locations. That says a lot, honestly, by itself. And when I think of this brand, I think this brand, they really are changing the game as it relates to not only craft distilleries, but just up and coming whiskey brands as a whole. Here's the reason why. So when I think about craft distilleries as a whole, a lot of times people will say, well, you know what, Judge, sometimes craft distilleries are a little young, like the whiskey tastes young, like it hasn't aged properly, or it just has like a very distinct, almost like a craft taste to it. Well, have you tried a High Bank product before? Because I can tell you, when you try the Double Oak Whiskey War, you're not going to think it is a craft-based distillery. You're going to think this bad boy can compete with the big timers that we all love out of the state of Kentucky. It is there when it relates to High Bank Distillery. Trust me, trust and believe. Above and beyond just the Whiskey War Double Oaked, you can think of, they also have a ton of other different expressions. They have the Double Oak, they have the Double Oaked. Yes, you heard me say that correct. The Double Oaked. They have their cigar finish, which is their whiskey finished in Amburana, the Brazilian Amburana barrels. They have some other finishes as well. They make a vodka, they make a gin. High Banks is truly on the rise. I mean, they are truly on the come up. In fact, so much, I need a sip of whiskey. Real quick though, 3 quick easy favors. Number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, drop me a comment. Let me know, have you ever tried any high bank product? And if so, which product? Also, what was your experience like with it? Did you enjoy it? Did you love it? Have you had multiple different bottles and different expressions? And last but not least, please make sure you also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you get notification each and every time I release new content. Cool? All right. Hey, cheers to High Bank Distillery, and cheers to Columbus, Ohio for having some great whiskey. Cheers, everyone. Whew! I'm sipping right now. You might be wondering. The double oaked. Oh, gosh. Folks, I'm going to ask you to do yourself a favor, and you can thank me later. Please go to your local whiskey bar, bourbon bar, whiskey bar, where they have like a really huge selection. Every state has one, right? 1 or 2, bourbon bars. Go to your local whiskey bar. Do yourself a favor. If you've never had a whiskey war or a High Bank Distillery based product, try either the double oaked, if the bar happens to have the double oaked, or any of their other expressions. Please give it a try, because I can guarantee you, you are going to be amazed with the whiskey coming out of High Bank Distillery. So, not getting into any one of these products in particular, but I will say overall, I've now had multiple different expressions, not these two, but also some other single barrels from some friends of mine, other groups. They were also hitters. So High Bank Distillery, it's easy to say, I think they are here for the long run. So definitely check them out. I know for me personally, this is one that, let's just say, I need to think very seriously about doing a barrel pick with them very soon. Might just happen. Hey friends, as we say in this courtroom, peace, cheers, most important, salute. Take care, everyone. See you guys. Woo! Damn, that is good. See you guys.